This episode of the podcast is brought to you by Hormones, a women's wellness summit. Bridget Danner, the creator of this event, was just on the podcast. You can go back and listen to that one if you haven't already. Basically, she's connecting you with over 35 experts in the field of women's health and hormones for this free event. You can learn more by going to hormoneevent.com. Look, this is an extremely well done event with a stellar lineup of sought-after speakers who have gathered together to help you make sense of the complex world of hormones. People like Jolene Brighton, Stephanie Granke, Trudy Scott, Jen Whitman, Daniel Kalish, Pedram Shojai, and many, many more. Sign up today at hormoneevent.com to receive valuable bonuses for free. That's hormoneevent.com. We're also brought to you by The Truth About Cancer. If you've been listening to this podcast, you know that this subject is incredibly important to me, very near and dear to my heart. But instead of me talking more about it, I'm going to play a portion of the video trailer from this free 9-day documentary series. To learn more, please go to cancertruthevent.com.
It doesn't matter where you're from, whether it's the USA, Europe, Asia, or Australia, you cannot escape this avalanche. It has intruded into every corner of the globe. It's engulfed this planet and wreaked havoc upon men, women, and children alike. It has torn apart husbands, wives, mothers, and fathers from their precious children and grandparents from their grandchildren. It's the curse of our time, the dreaded disease, cancer. And I know it has affected your life and your loved ones. And I guess you're not satisfied with the answers that you've been given. Maybe you can't shake the question, what if there is a better way? What if we do not have to suffer? What if people are tragically dying without having access to what truly works? What if there are more effective treatments and preventions that will make cancer a disease of the past? Welcome to The Truth About Cancer, a global quest. If these are questions you've been asking, you're about to see some things that will shock you.
So once again, you can go to cancertruthevent.com to watch the rest of that very intriguing trailer and to sign up to watch the entire 9-part documentary series for free. That's cancertruthevent.com. All right, let's start the show. Today, Mike and I are joined by Steve Macari from thewavestate.com. It was a real pleasure to speak to Steve. It's not often we get to talk to someone from my neck of the woods here in New York, someone who understands the struggle of winter in the Northeast. It's usually people from Mike's neck of the woods there in sunny San Diego, California, and I'm always a little bit bitter by their perfect weather there. But nonetheless, Steve has a really interesting story. He went from being an IT guy to working in the finance industry to designing a super high quality yoga mat and starting a holistic health practice. I know that sounds crazy, but when you hear him talk about it, it all sort of makes sense. We got to talk about a lot of different things like coffee and plantains and surfing and connecting with nature and living in what Steve calls the wave state. So enjoy. This is Mike and I with Steve Macari. Hey everyone, welcome back to the RHT Podcast. I'm Joe Renault with Michael Roseline. What's up, Michael?
Yo.
How's it going?
Going good.
Cool. Today we're joined by Steve Macari. Steve, you have a really cool website. Is it what is it? The Wave? It's the Wave?
The Wave State.
The Wave State. Yeah, I was just checking it out. It's really cool. It's really different. For folks who don't know who you are, give a little background about about what you do and a little bit about your website.
Sure. I'm the founder of a company called The Wave State. I provide products, content, and services which help people enter the wave state. The wave state's kind of a state of being. When you're in the wave state, everything kind of just flows for you in life. So when your mind, your body, your soul, everything's harmonized, you kind of just feel good. And you guys know there's various layers to that. So I work with clients through the Wave State. I also consult for a gym in New York City called Drive 495, and I do that health coaching and nutritional coaching with my clients there. I also write about health. You can see some of the articles I've written on the Wave State. So I'm a contributing editor for Harper'sBazaar.com. So I'm just trying to spread some of the truths to whoever will read and listen. So that's the story.
Yeah, no, I like how you have it broken up into the 17 waves. It's a really slick looking site, and I was getting into it. So
Nice.
That's new, right? Your sites are new.
Yeah, this is I launched this a few weeks ago. My prior company was called Silverback, slvrbk.com, and this was kind of the evolution of everything I've learned over the years, and kind of my philosophy. So change things up. I still sell. I designed a yoga / exercise mat called the Silverback mat. It's a pretty high quality mat. Oh yeah, you have one, Michael?
Yeah, mine's right over there.
nice.
So it's a yoga mat that has a lot of extra cushioning. Pretty high quality material. So I still sell that.
That's in our discount club for our premium members.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
check
cool.
that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, Steve gave us a generous coupon for that, and so for premium members, log in, check that out in the discount club. You will see the Silverback mats there, but I use it for yoga and for anything that I need mats for. It's thicker than an average yoga mat and good on the knees.
Yeah.
And I actually met Steve at one of our other contributors, Emma Lane's gut course here in San Diego. We sat next to each other, and that was like, was that 2.5 at least years ago now, I think. And probably 2.5 years. And then I went out to New York and New Jersey to teach a couple classes summer. I guess that would have been, was that last summer? No, it was
Summers ago.
2 summers ago. Who knows, man? Time goes real fast now. 2 summers ago, and I stayed with Steve there in that location in, is that considered lower Manhattan? Central Manhattan?
I would say it's the start of Lower Manhattan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've known each other a while, and Emma's course was cool, and anybody really interested in gut stuff should check that out.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree.
So, Steve, we were talking before we got on here. You actually grew up about 25 minutes or so from me here on Long Island. Oddly enough, we talked to Chef Lance Roll a few days ago, who's also from the same area. So, that you were born and raised there on Long Island?
I was born in Queens, and I lived in Queens until just before high school. And high school through college, I lived in Long Island. Well,
Okay.
when I was home from school, I lived in Long Island after college. I went to college in Baltimore.
Excellent. So, was you're a Czech practitioner now? What was it that made you shift? What were you doing before you were doing that, or was that something that was always on your radar? Did you kind of grow up in a family that was health conscious? Give a little background about your childhood, maybe.
Yeah. So. I didn't know at the time, but in recent years when I've talked to my mom about my childhood and when she was pregnant and feeding me as a baby, she was doing all the things that you're supposed to do, making her own baby food, giving me chicken liver and all the breastfeeding as long as possible. So my mom was definitely into this stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
Always exercise. It's pretty cool. And my father was actually born in Italy. He came over here when he was like 10.
Uh-huh.
So he grew up in a small mountain town where all the food came from the backyard or the mountains.
Yeah.
They had a goat, chickens, the whole deal. So on his side of the family, they were they knew how to eat. And it wasn't just pasta. And even if it was pasta, it was
Fresh, homemade.
yeah, making the stuff from scratch. So I grew up eating pretty well, I would say.
Okay.
I was always interested in health on some level, but I definitely had a major detour. Went to college for computers, and I spent several years as a network engineer, building computer networks. I worked for a pharmaceutical company in Maryland.
No kidding. What a shift.
Yeah,
Wow.
It was the manufacturing facility, so I'm going around the facility, fixing all the computers. Pretty funny stuff. I actually had to wear like all the hazmat gear when I went into like places where they did everything.
Huh.
So that was my job out of college in Baltimore. wanted to move back to New York, so I took a job here doing IT for a hedge fund. After a year, I kind of realized where the money was at, and I decided to go back to school for finance. Did an MBA in finance, and I stayed at the same company and moved over to a role, more away from computers and with spending all day in a spreadsheet.
Wow! So you went from pharmaceuticals to working for a hedge fund company.
Well, pharmaceuticals, and that I was on the IT side.
Right.
But I worked for a currency. It was a currency hedge fund, so they traded currencies. So I was involved more on the risk management and marketing side. I did that for about 8 or 9 years. As you can imagine, it wasn't ultimately that fulfilling, and my health started to decline, and that's kind of how I got into a lot of these things.
How long did you do that for when you switched over to from the computer to more of the financial side of things?
About 8 years.
Oh wow! Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
I can totally relate to that. I was actually in real estate. I was a real estate broker for 10 years.
Oh,
so just pretty crazy shift.
Yeah. And kind of the big thing for me that now I look back on, and I know was kind of a driving factor in a lot of my, when my health started to decline, was actually a surfing accident.
Oh yeah.
I recently wrote my story, so it's on my website. It was a pretty, it's a long form article I wrote about everything, which people can check out. But back in, I was around 25 or 26 years old. I had my surfboard hit me in the face, got stitches, thought everything was fine. About a week later, I had like open sores all over my face.
Oh wow.
Some sort of infection. They couldn't really put a name on it. Who knows what it was? Went on a bunch of antibiotics, and then the next 2 years my body changed. Food sensitivities and joint pain, and the whole, I think the normal cycle that happens with a lot of people. So, I slowly started getting into health and researching it, and made a ton of mistakes. I tried a bunch of really rigid, dogmatic diets, everything from vegetarianism to very low carb, antifungal, to all the superfoods that I thought would fix me, to the guru, to the retreats, and I only felt marginally better following that approach. So.
Sure, I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that.
Yeah, and then I found Paul Chek, and it was just slowly, things slowly got better from there. So
I suppose the antibiotics. If you had to point your finger at something, it was probably the antibiotics that was the start of the downfall there.
That was definitely a major driver. That coupled with a lot of stress from work and life, and being in New York City. So they definitely worked together well to really get me. So
was there something in particular about the financial sector job that made you realize that wasn't the way you wanted to go, or was it the accident and kind of struggling with your health that did it?
It was sort of a culmination of a variety of things. The company that I worked for was in the process of folding, so they were going bankrupt, and I kind of just realized that what we were doing was, for a time I thought we were helping investors make money. Mm-hmm. I realized how, when one of our traders was buying or selling a currency for some small emerging country in Eastern Europe or South America, it was impacting people that live there, families, because they were trading large amounts of money, and it just kind of clicked in my head how wrong that is, to be honest. Yeah. Things just kind of started happening. My first foray. So my health started improving. I found Paul Chek. I designed this yoga mat, and that was kind of my exit point. I launched back, started selling the mat, started really training with doing all the Chek training, and finally hooking up with some good people, and continuing to learn more and work on myself, and just try and walk the path
I want to
That
kind
was
of
trippy.
hone in on that. When you designed the yoga mat, were you still doing you still had the financial job, and was that your way out?
Yeah, I actually I was communicating. Yeah, I was doing the research. I knew about a year before that I ended my finance job. I started designing and putting together that product. And so it took a lot of research to find a manufacturer outside of like Asia. If you Google yoga mat manufacturers, it's pretty much mostly Asian based.
Right.
And I wanted to use a higher quality material than I found over there. So I hooked up with a company in Germany, and for 6 months we kind of went back and forth, on different materials and thicknesses and grips and all these things. So yeah, the last year at my finance job, I wasn't doing a lot of real work.
Yeah. Yeah. Once again, I can relate.
I don't know if that's actually uncommon. Most of my friends or people I know in that industry say that most of what they do doesn't involve a lot of work.
Yeah. Well, I think it depends what kind of stuff you're doing, but yeah, I don't think most people in general are doing a lot of work during the day in offices.
I think that's kind of gone. I think the internet has destroyed that.
So.
Yeah, I think mostly people are just sitting in cubicles hating their lives.
And going on social media or playing games or doing some sort of something, I think, has taken the place of work. You're doing a lot better now than like when I met you at Emma's class. You were still working on a ton of those issues because I know we had talked about a lot of it, and you're doing like a lot better now from what it seems with almost everything. What do you think were the main switch? Like you said, you tried this retreat, this strict diet, this thing, that thing. Like, do you think it was just time and sticking with like a new, healthier lifestyle routine, lower stress, happier life over time, or was there some specific actions you took that were really beneficial to you that helped you, or like how'd you figure things out?
It's been a slow process, but ultimately I think I've finally learned how my body works and kind of what I need to feel good. I'll tell you one of the biggest things for me, one of the biggest errors I made early on was restricting carbohydrates. I've always been a very lean guy. Like when I was unhealthy, it's not like I gained weight. Like I still looked pretty lean and vascular and healthy, I would say. But when I got into the Paul Chek world and research and gut issues, a lot of these regimens were pretty low carb, especially low sugar. So one of the big things for me that really helped kind of digestion and also from a hormonal standpoint was eating a lot of fruit. So still to this day, one of my primary carbohydrate sources is fruit. And I think that was really, really, when I started doing that, I started to feel an improvement in my energy levels, an improvement in my digestion. So that was really major for me, and I continue to do that. I'll eat potatoes and starches, white rice, but like today I just had some like I slow cooked a beef shank yesterday, and I just had a meal which was I had an apple, some dates, and I don't know, 6 ounces of this kind of like stew meat, and for me that's a really great meal. I feel great after that. So yeah, the carbs was huge. Megaspore was huge for me too. That probiotic I feel like was a game changer for me, and it's really been a game changer for many of my clients as well. So taking that, I still continue to take that. I feel great taking it. And then really,
you would have about 1,000 of our closest friends.
Yeah.
That
thing was great. And then, really just, doing what you want for a living, it can really help nourish and heal a lot of things as well. So when you wake up every day and are happy with what you're doing, that really that goes a long way. And having some kind of direction and focus with something you believe in. So that's been pretty major as well.
Yeah, I think Mike and I both have had our fair share of clients who have kind of screwed themselves up on being too low carb for particularly too long, and so yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
I'm a fellow advocate of the plantain. Steve is one of the only people I know who likes plantains as much as I do, I think.
I would challenge you on that myself.
How's that organic plantain farm idea coming along?
That was a good idea. We should revisit that.
He was talking when I was in New York. He was talking about buying. There was some organic plantain farm for sale somewhere beautiful in Central America. I don't remember what country it was in, but I said if you needed someone to man that and or taste test the plantains on a daily basis, I am in.
That sounds like a dream job.
Yeah, we could even build a little Rebel Health Tribe retreat spot on at the plantain farm retreat. Yeah.
Let's do it.
Plantains and ayahuasca? Is that a thing?
Game over right there.
Nice.
So you work, you're building up this new site, Wave State, and you do work with private clients there in New York at Drive 495, which is one of the nicest training facilities I've worked out at. It's a really nice spot there. What's your goal? What are you trying to? Are you going to focus more on the new website, the new brand? Are you still going to be building individual clientele? Like, is your goal to work with a lot of people individually, or what are you? What's in the future for you?
So in the future, I want to continue to spread the message that I've been spreading, the message that you guys are spreading about the holistic nature of health. But the biggest thing I want to do is launch a new product in the next 6 months. And Michael, you know a little bit about this, but when following a lifestyle-based approach to health, it can take time to see results. So a lot of people, might start making some of these changes and they don't start losing weight right away, or they don't start seeing any noticeable changes, and I think they jump ship. So I've seen this with my own clients and family members and whatnot. So I want to put together a 21-day program for people to follow that includes supplement and nutrition recommendations, and it will serve as a kickstart to a lifestyle-based approach to health. I like calling it a reset. And the name that I'm probably going to go with is the Wave Reset. So this is a program that I'm going to be designing, and Michael and I have chatted about this. So it's going to include a few supplements to help with digestion, a few supplements to kind of help with your hormonal system, and it's not going to be a starvation program. It's going to be a program which helps kind of rebalance, retune, reset your body, your mind, and your soul. So 21 days, you could start building some new habits and kind of really, learn about the life that we promote, and also hopefully see some results which get you motivated to continue it for the long haul. So that's the biggest thing I have going on. I probably will phase down the number of clients I'm working with because I think I could reach more people with this product, or maybe be more selective in the clients that I work with. So. And I'm going to continue to write. I love writing, and I'm very fortunate to have an outlet where I can reach a lot of people with Harper's Bazaar. So I continue to write. Will continue to write articles there, and maybe someday write a book if I can sit down and do that. So that's what's on the docket for me.
So nothing major.
Sounds great. The book thing is awesome, and I highly recommend it. It's especially if you love writing. But the 21-day reset sounds good. So basically, it's just going to be like a raw vegan diet for 21 days. Is that kind of the idea?
Yeah, just lots of juices and water. So
cool. That sounds great.
Very exciting.
Sarcasm. That was sarcasm for the listeners. You can't see us laughing on the video, just in case they don't have the video.
I'm hoping people know me well enough by now that they picked that up.
Sweet. And Steve needs to come out here because he is quite the surfer, which I don't know how common that is in the middle of Manhattan.
You can surf in the East River, can't you?
I think Laird did some stand-up paddle out there actually once. So
really?
I don't know if riding a wave. You don't want to go in that water.
No.
I cringe when they run the triathlons here and people are actually like swimming in there. I'm like, this is.
Oh, it's terrible.
And it goes in their mouth.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
inevitably it goes in your everywhere.
Yeah.
Yep. And I mean, I used to surf. I started surfing later in life, and yeah, I encourage people to read my article because it'll make more sense about my story in the wave state on my site. But I think a significant component of the infection I had was from the water. I surfed in a place outside of Manhattan, not too far outside of Manhattan in Long Island, and the water quality is pretty not very good there. So now when I go surfing, I try and go further out in Long Island where things clean up a little bit. So.
That happens here with the rain. We can't really go in the water. The San Diego rivers, I live right where the San Diego River hits the ocean, and they have it set up so when it rains, like sewage literally comes out of the river into the ocean. And
That's
so
still happening?
Oh yeah. So you can't go in the water 24 to 70 or 24, 48, just maybe even 3 days after it rains without risking that. And right when we moved here, a local surfer here in our neighborhood died from a staph infection that he got just from no cut, no board to the face, no injury, no anything. Got a staph infection just from the water after a rain and died, like totally healthy guy.
Oh, man.
And so it's, humans and water, we kind of suck at managing it as a whole, I think.
Yeah, man.
It's the bottom line there, but I don't screw around with it. I'd wait at least 4 days without going in the water here. Like I heard staph infection, raw sewage, and I'm out.
Yeah, and that's probably what I had. I mean, I should have taken pictures, but I definitely looked like I was probably going to die. It was bad.
Well, it seems like it was a silver lining in there somewhere, though.
Yeah, totally. It was supposed to go down like this, so I'm pleased.
Awesome.
From reading your site, you seem like you have a pretty significant spiritual approach to how you practice and your life. Is there some Taoist influence or correlation between the wave and Taoism?
I guess yes and no. I mean, I feel like everybody out there. I mean, everything's a wave. It makes sense on so many levels. If you want to look at it in terms of the invisible waves of energy around us, the waves of biochemical reactions that are happening in the body, in a spiritual sense, yin yang, light dark. It just there's so many ways that it works, which is why when I came up with the idea, I got really excited.
Yeah.
I was like, I could swing this a bunch of different ways, and and I intend to. But yeah, the spiritual component for me was sort of the last to develop. I think that's probably common. Mm-hmm. But like as I kind of work through the various layers, the physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, the last year has been kind of huge for me in terms of the spiritual growth. And a big component of that was establishing a daily practice, some form of mind quieting exercise. That's really, really, really helpful for me. I mean, it's helpful for everybody, but I definitely tend to have a very, very busy mind, and be more sympathetically oriented. Mm-hmm. And I think it goes with my body style and some of my other traits. So I have to work really hard to kind of keep a quiet mind. And, I do a daily practice, which varies. Sometimes I'll meditate. Sometimes I'll do a Tai Chi or Qigong. Other days I'm trying to learn how to play the ukulele. So I have a ukulele and I just mess around. Mm-hmm. So I'll just do that, or I'll just go walking out in the park out here, or sitting out in the park, just being weird.
What's weird?
Being weird in a park is cool. I know you'd mentioned the slow walking, and you were trying to get some of your slow walking is like you just walk as slow as you possibly can. It's like a Tai Chi walk, I guess. I guess it stems from Tai Chi. I don't know. You would know better than I do, but it's literally walking as slow as you possibly can. So it's like full mindfulness on your movement versus being able to think about anything else, essentially. And I remember when I was there, Steve had just started trying to introduce slow walking to some of his ultra fast-paced financial industry clients. And
I would have loved to see that.
It sounded like it was like pretty much the worst thing that had ever happened to them, but it's medicine that they need.
Yeah, I had one guy, most apartments in Manhattan, for people that don't know here, they don't really realize, but, they're pretty small, like 600 square feet. is kind of it's small.
Mansion.
Yeah. So I have a client with a very long apartment. He's got a long stretch in there, and I had him just close his eyes and walk as slowly as he could across his apartment. He thought I was crazy, but I was like, do this every morning, every other morning, and he was doing it. He's like, that's the most relaxed I've been in a while. So there's different ways to tackle it. But back to the park though, it's pretty easy to look weird in the park because if you're not on your cell phone, like if you're just standing around, like just looking around. Sure. People think you're weird.
That's suspicious at this point. You're liable to get your ass kicked by some police or something.
Well, it's refreshing. It's refreshing to know that you could still look weird in New York City.
Yes, and I kid you not, it happens pretty regularly that I'll just be standing there, just kind of like whether it's taken in the sun or just looking at some squirrels or sparrows or something, and people come up to me and ask me if I'm okay. I'm dead serious.
That's hilarious.
That's a good sign to me, though. It means I'm kind of in it. But I just go out to the park and I'll try and I'll go barefoot on the grass when I can, and I'll maybe lean up against the tree, get a little grounding going. So all those things I find to be very beneficial, and I notice it when I don't do them. So it's cool.
Yeah, I have the luxury of going into like a hiking trail or a park somewhere, and Mike's got plantains that I'm going to be jealous about.
Mira just brought me some tostones that she just made while we were on this podcast. So if I could pass these through the TV, you guys would be getting yummy plantains, but instead I'm going to eat them all.
I need to 3D print some plantains right now. But yeah, I have the luxury of going into a hiking trail where it's pretty secluded and ground and hug a tree or two, lean up against a tree without someone looking at me strangely. So and if someone thinks you're weird or looks at you funny, that's their issue, right? That's their problem.
Yeah, I stopped caring. I used to care actually when I first got into it, but now I do my thing.
You stop giving a shit, right? It's totally. Like in general, as a whole, like it's super liberating. I always say like not giving a damn what anybody thinks about what you do or say or whatever is probably the most liberating thing and like the hardest thing to learn. But once you do, it's like it's cliche. You hear that when you're a kid, like adults tell you, be yourself or don't care what everybody thinks or what the other kids say doesn't matter, and you just roll your eyes and you're like, you don't know what you're talking about, old man. And then,
get off my lawn.
And then you get old and it happens, and by default or on purpose, where you just don't care anymore, and it's like this giant, stress or weight just gone. Like someone looking at me switches to, oh, that's a cool bird.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's a cool bird is way better.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun when that happens.
Do you have a set morning routine that you try to stick to each day?
Yeah, I do. And my morning is kind of like time to have coffee with my wife. So I become the barista. So I make her a cappuccino. Yeah, I love it. I mean, I still say that one day I want to open a coffee shop. So.
Me too.
Joe wants to do that. You guys should talk.
I already have like the name picked out and the layout and the design of it and everything, and it's going to be all just organic and fair trade coffee.
Let's do it. Screw all this wave state stuff.
All right, let's do it. I'm ready.
Rebel Hulk Tribe just ended also.
Yeah.
What's that?
This is the podcast that brought down both of our companies, and in a week we're all going to be running a cafe.
I mean,
yeah, exactly.
It's crazy. Like I see how many shares my articles on Harper's Bazaar get, and by far the article that was the most circulated was my coffee article. Like people love their coffee. So
yeah, I'm definitely a bit of a coffee snob, but I don't apologize for that. I just like really really good coffee. It's definitely a ritual for me to get up and grind the beans, by hand and put them in the French press.
Oh yeah.
And, I just really enjoy that. But my vision for a coffee shop is going to be a place where people can go to work and it be somewhat of a healthy environment with standing desks, maybe some treadmill desks or something like that.
I love it.
Yeah. All right, I'm in. Let's do it.
This is how new projects are born.
Oh, man. It's funny. I actually I really wanted to keep it old school and do like the hand crank for the espresso.
Exactly what I have. Yep.
Well, I was trying to get it fine enough, and I was there for like 20 minutes cranking for one shot of espresso. So
yeah, that's true.
Maybe I'm doing something wrong.
Yeah, well, the espresso is different because you have to do that fine grind. So I can imagine that taking. Well, maybe you don't need to do any workout that morning when you do that. Just make sure you alternate hands.
Yeah, it's a
coffee
good
workout.
forearm workout.
A DVD set in the making.
There
The
you
coffee
go.
workout.
So
We're
yeah,
just pumping out products and businesses now.
done.
Awesome.
My routine is, I usually don't schedule meetings in the morning, so I get to spend the morning with my wife, having coffee, trying to just stay off our phones and talk, trying to keep that stuff until later. And, that's really my routine. I don't really do any meditation or that in the morning. I really find that it works best for me at night, so between like 10:30 and 11:30, that hour, my wife usually, goes to bed or goes in the bedroom, and I have kind of a little area set up in my living room. It's like, my little zone where I, will meditate or, do any other practice, which kind of helps zone me out. So.
I might switch it up and try that myself. I usually try and get up earlier than everyone, and when I do that, I do pretty well, but it's difficult. We have a 4-year-old, so.
Yeah. It definitely varies based on the season for me too. Like, in the summer I get up way earlier.
Yeah.
I notice this time of year I do need more sleep, and I'm fortunate enough to be able to set my schedule up that way. So I don't set an alarm most mornings, and I sleep until I need to, and then.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, the website is thewavestate.com, right?
Yes.
Awesome. And is that the best way to for people to get in touch with you if they want to connect with you?
Yeah, thewavestate.com. Steve at the Wavestate. Pretty active on Facebook under that name, and also Instagram. So I try and post regularly, not as regularly as Michael, but yeah, that's the best way to get a hold of me.
Awesome. Well,
Cool.
Steve, thanks so much for your time. This was a great conversation. We'll have to get together one of these days.
Yeah, Joe, definitely. Let me know if you're in the city. It'd be great.
All right. I will.
Thanks a lot, Steve. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye, guys. Have a good one.
All right, there you go. There's our conversation with Steve Macari. Really interesting dude, right? Had a lot of fun talking to him, and I hope to connect with him sometime soon over some really good coffee in New York City. You could also check out his articles in Harper's Bazaar and check out his website, thewavestate.com. And thanks again to our sponsors, Hormones, a women's wellness summit. Go to hormoneevent.com to register for free. And The Truth About Cancer. Go to cancertruthevent.com and sign up to watch the free 9-part documentary series. That's cancertruthevent.com. Thanks again for listening, and make sure you head over to rebelhealthtribe.com or find us on iTunes and leave us a review and rate us. That's a huge help. Thanks.